Okay. I want to bring something up. I'm going to go back years. Tot has been what I call a one woman, how would you put it? One woman army against a plague that's been affecting her family for years now. And I'm going to go back a few years, and the issue not only with her offspring, like Blaine, having issues, we're going to go back to her own brother, Flint Farmer. This woman knows the warning signs when these demons are affecting her family. And how she knows this is actually when she's tried contacting her brother, Flint Farmer, and not being able to get in contact with him. Don't know if he's just passed out, if he's lying there dead. And like she said, if you actually spent the time to actually talk to Tot, get to know Tot and her family and the history they've had, Flint was never a dealer. He was a user himself, and a hardcore user at that. Tot said there was like every day and then sometimes multiple times a day where she actually had to go check on her own brother, not knowing if he's going to be found alive, dead, passed out, overdosed. It was an unknown every single time she would go over to check on her own brother. Now, like I said, this woman's been a one-woman army for years now. And when she knows that the demons are affecting her family, 24 hours before Sunday, she made a call. I don't think any mom would want to do, but like Tot said herself, I would rather see him in jail, alive, getting sober, than what happened 24 hours later. She got a hold of his probation officer Saturday and was asking his probation officer if he would violate him, come pick him up, take him in, and like she said, I'd rather be putting money on his books. I would rather see him in jail, being sober, alive. So what I was getting at on this post when I started this is Howard County Probation Department and the judicial system needs to reform. How many mothers, significant others, sons, daughters have made the same call Tot was forced to make Saturday? Asking, I'd rather see my family put behind bars, violated, on probation, spending time behind bars rather than doing what she has to do this week. So the probation department and his probation officer is just as guilty as the dealer that gave him the drugs. Tot decided to actually, once she started seeing the last couple weeks, these demons kind of coming in, him nodding off, didn't have 100% sure that he was using, if he was using, what was going on. But when she finally found out what it was, she did make a call to his probation officer. And what that probation officer said, we'll haunt this mother for the rest of her life. We don't work weekends. This is I can violate and actually get anything done would be Monday. So, grand actions. Ability, negligence has a mother now cremating her own son. That should have never happened. Not when a mother begged a probation officer, I'd rather see him in jail, alive, than dead. And what happened 24 hours after this? She said it was about 6 p.m. and she heard a thud and didn't think anything of it. And like she said, calling his son has been riding him to come play a game with him all day. After she heard the thud, she had his son go up and check. End up getting hollering grandma. And like she said, it's pretty much even the grandkids call her mom. She's the mom, and Frank's the dad of the household. So it's mom and dad. It's kind of how even the grandkids say. So they were hollering for her to come up. Frank ended up coming up, her husband, and started doing CPR. But like she said, it took them about everything they could. When she found him face down, he ended up puking. And like she said, big boy. It took everything they had to flip over. And Frank started CPR right then and there. Called 911. And like she said, he was already cold. But for a mother, one of her last thoughts was seeing these demons affect her family, her son, yet again, when he was doing so good. One of her last thoughts is if the probation department, his probation officer, did their job, she would rather see her son behind bars, putting money on his books, spending the rest of his time behind bars, alive, than what she is now having to go through now. I am asking you guys in the Hunting Evil Army to come in behind Tot. There needs to be reform. How many other times do family members like this, not only the probation department, but you also have like the judicial system itself, knowing the cartel drugs that are coming in are so laced with fentanyl. And yes, I got told everything and exactly what was there. I'm choosing out of respect to keep that put aside. But what I'm getting at is the haunting words a mother has to remember 24 hours before she found her son dead was like, we do not work weekends. The soonest I can violate him and the soonest I can get him picked up be Monday. We do not work weekends. Sorry about your luck. And then for a mother, 24 hours to find her son dead after she pleaded for him to get picked up, violated, get sober. A mother should never have to go through this. And this, like I said, not the first time. This warrior, mother, and she was pretty much a mother to her own brother. She was that mama tot. Like she said, she's got multiple adopted children. And for her to see this and know these demons, this addiction, when it affects her family for years, she knows the warning signs. The emotional outburst, like Todd said, there were some things said and an argument that happened. And like she said, that wasn't Blaine. That was the addiction. That was that disease that was pretty much controlling him, his thoughts, his actions, and what he was saying. But for her to make a call Saturday to be told we do not work weekends, there needs to be reform, and that probation officer should not have a job. They are there. And when you have a mother reaching out to you saying, look, something is wrong, I need you to do something. And it's not just to do something, it would have saved a life. And give me a second. I know I got everything else blurred out, but I'm trying not to blur my face out. Okay, there we go. But what I was getting at and what I've been renovating and going over is the last thoughts a mother who has seen this multiple times. not knowing if she's going to find her own brother, dead or alive. For a mother to pick up the phone and ask for their own flesh and blood to be thrown behind bars. And like she said, I'd rather have Jill alive than what's going on now. That probation officer, that probation department, that department has been known corruption. There's actually been dealers going through a court-ordered system while getting 2 charges in a summer and still graduates the system. That kind of tells you how that probation department, that court system works. If that doesn't tell you, I don't know what does. Another thing is the new Indiana law. Dealers can be charged with murder. In the cases of overdoses, seriously needs to be happening, and even Ty is trying to make sure that happens. And it's not just one dealer. This actually goes back to the cartel-fed drugs right there in Kokomo. It needs to be hit as a whole. But there is some major reforms that need to happen. There is some major individuals, negligence, lies, disregard shown to a family, a mother that was desperately asking for help, and to get shunned, and her pleas to fall on deaf ears was not called for. Blaine would still be here with us today. We could be writing him, calling him in jail if that probation officer actually got off their ass and did their job. That probation officer, that department needs to revamp, and the judicial system right there in Howard County needs a complete and utter revamp from top to bottom. How this probation officer still has a job after he just cost yet another life to this troubled community is beyond me. Truthfully, I don't think he deserves a job. As taxpayers, we don't pay people that don't do their jobs, do we? That's one thing that needs to be brought up and needs to be said. And I wanted to bring up a little bit of Tot's story. Like I said, this is the real Tot. This is the battle she's been in for years now, not only with her brother, her son, other family members. She knows this issue firsthand. She's battled this issue multiple times. But I think multiple calls need to be going into Howard County Probation and the Howard County Judicial Department, where this probation officer, Blaine, over Blaine Nelson, needs to lose their job. There's a mother that begged for help and got a blind eye turned. An excuse for negligence and disregard for a human life. Enough is enough. And we all need to stand up at this dealer and the dealers over them, and that ring does not get hit in full after this murder is exactly what it is. They knew what they were giving him. It's murder. Todd said they got his password to get in his phone to actually find this dealer. And that Indiana law that's barely being used needs to be used in full when it comes to Blaine's death. And we all need to stand up, not only behind Tot. And that's the thing is, Ashley gets out, she's begging her to stay sober. And believe me, I don't think Tot needs to go through this hell again. This is not the first time, this is not the last time that she's battled this demon. This demon might have won this time, but this woman, she will not stop. She will keep fighting. And I can't wait to take the stand as a federal eyewitness on Flint's case, because the heartache, the hell that this family and her has been going through and even going through now. When the audio and video, when Marlena admits that Gail Ellis was trafficking Karina on audio and video, when that is shown to the jury and the judge, as well as the text with Brewster Fitz meeting him, where, what time, what day, for him to take me to talk to Marlena, is in those texts. All this will come to light when it comes to me taking a stand for Flint. God rest Karina's soul, and fly high, Big Red. But you people need to start looking up some laws. And I think, truthfully, this probation officer needs to be held liable. There was a phone call made Saturday, 24 hours before a death. His inactions, negligence, disregard allowed another life to leave us too soon.